before this gets started, I wanted to do a little side feature section where I read off some of my favorite comments from my last rant video. We've got Sofo Nax. Sansa, how can I swear to keep a secret if I don't know what it is? Jon, because we're a family. Sansa, I swear, so what's the secret? Jon, we are not family. 80 Cakes, jumped the dragon. Honestly, I feel like shot the dragon should be the term, but I think that's great. We've got Mac Daddy Nemo Hose Jones McGee. I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. It's a mouthful. 'Twas never a better roast in all of the land, sir. You have the wit of Athena's owl and the brutality of a minotaur. While I'm flattered, I very much appreciate it. Now, on to the rant. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, leave a like and subscribe. Alright, so just to preface, I literally just got done watching the episode. Holy fuck. I don't know where to begin exactly. I took a lot of notes because there's a lot I got to say. So I'm literally just going to start at the beginning. So the episode starts off with Varys writing a letter to some unknown person about Jon's true heritage, about how he's Rhaegar Targaryen, first of his name, and he has a stronger claim than Dany, and how we need to support him, and all this bullshit. And, you know, that's really nice. I was really wondering if this plot thread would develop at all. You know, I got my expectations subverted, all right, because Jon and Varys teleport to Dragonstone, and we find out that the army is 2 days away from King's Landing, even though they literally just fucking left last episode. Holy shit, that's awesome. Varys gives Jon the talk about Dany being insane and about how she shouldn't burn down the Red Keep and how she shouldn't slaughter her enemies with reckless abandon. Jon is, of course, a fucking cuck because, like I said in my last rant, the only characters in this show with some fucking balls are the dudes with their nuts cut off and the females. So, of course, Jon says, and I quote, "That is her decision to make. She is our queen." Varys tells him that, of course, he's going to be a better ruler than Dany, that he's going to be wise and just, and he's going to make good decisions for the better of the realm. And you get a look on Jon's face, kind of like he believes what he's saying. But, of course, he rolls back into his, "I don't want to be the king. I don't want it. I've never wanted it. I don't want power. Blah, 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 blah." I fucking hate this. Honestly, at this point, Jon's desire to save the world like he had against the others should supersede his desire to not be king. He should realize how fucking selfish that is. He was willing to sacrifice his life to save people against the others, but he's not willing to sacrifice his life to save anyone against Dany. She's the other at this point. She has a giant fire-breathing fucking dragon. That shit's fucking nuts. And Jon cucks. Jon's a cuck. Moving on. Tyrion and Dany were in the trailer shot. He's walking up on her in their war room in Dragonstone. My queen. He's trying to see how she's doing. He's going there as well to tell somebody that, or not to tell somebody, my bad, to tell her that somebody betrayed her, but she already knows. You can see her hair is kind of frayed up. She looks kind of insane. She's like, "Someone betrayed me." And he says, yes, kind of surprised. And she says, "It's Jon." He says, "No," kind of like, "Wow, why would you say that?" "No, of course it's not. It was Varys." And then she makes this nice, like, loose thread. "Well, Varys learned from you. You learned from Sansa. Sansa learned from Jon. I begged Jon. I pleaded with Jon not to tell anybody." And, you know, that's fucking ridiculous. It's insane that she's really trying to convince Tyrion of this bullshit right now. And I genuinely don't think he's buying it, but of course, regardless, he cucks. He's like, "All right, fine, we gotta do something." He betrayed us. He cucks to Dany. She's insane. She looks fucked. They even give you a close-up of her face. She's got these horrible bags under her eyes. Her hair's all going crazy. Her dress is all fucked up. Her skin's, like, paler than usual. Her eyes have kind of lost their blue hue. They look almost gray. It's very dark. It's actually some nice visual metaphor. I like that, D&D. Good job. That's one of very few. Now, we see Varys in his fucking chamber again, writing out this fucking letter. And of course he doesn't get to finish the goddamn letter, because the Unsullied and Grey Worm show up and take him into chains. And this is a scene very reminiscent to when Stannis was here the last time. You know, maybe crazy bitches who like fire in Dragonstone shouldn't have power because they'll set people on fire. Melisandre did it when she was working for Stannis, and now Dany's doing it now that she's the queen ruling over the Dragonstone. Interesting theory. I might have to make a video about that. Lol. They of course escort that motherfucker to the beach. They bring him out to the pyre. Tyrion tells Varys, he has the audacity to tell Varys that he was the one who told Dany. Varys hopes, that Tyrion is wrong about all this bullshit, and that Dany is a good queen. But of course she's not going to be a good fucking queen, you fucking dipshit. No, she's not going to be a good What? She's not going to be a good fucking queen? She's literally about to burn you alive for trying to fucking go against her. You told her. Y'all had that conversation in Season 6, I'm pretty sure, when you first signed on. Varys, if you ever think I'm not being a good ruler, please don't conspire against me. Please tell me out in the open. You told her out in the open, motherfucker, and she flat out refused your call. So you know what you did? You did the only thing you could do. You started trying to hatch a plot. You gotta save the realm, bruh. I feel that. They really hammer that point home. Varys is the hero that Westeros deserves. No, it's not it's not the hero Westeros deserves, but it's the hero they need. But it's not the hero we got right now because he got burnt alive. Dany's standing right up under Drogon. She says, Lord Varys, I, Daenerys of House Targaryen, breaker of chains, the Khaleesi of the great grass sea, da-da-da-da-da, send it to you to die. Dracarys! We show Tyrion and Grey Worm and fucking Jon. Jon looks horrified. Tyrion looks pretty fucked. Grey Worm's not showing a lot of emotion. We get a nice scene transition there, though, between the fire burning off of Jon's face, like you can see it like reflecting off of him, to the fire in Dany's room, reflecting off of her face, where she's in there talking to fucking Grey Worm about Missandei. They miss her a lot, clearly. Real quick, I'm going to make a point how fucking ridiculous this is, how jarring this is. She literally just set Varys on fire, and she's all cool to be sad about Missandei. Like, what the fuck, bitch? She really is insane. It really took her one whole episode. Season 8, Episode 4 was all it took for this bitch to go cuckoo, cachoo, crazy town. I can't believe it. It's fucking insane, honestly. And, they have a nice moment, her and Grey Worm. They talk about Missandei and the collar that she has from her, how it was the only possession she brought to the Seven Kingdoms. I almost said the West Kingdoms, but that's Westeros and the Seven Kingdoms mixed together. And she gives it to Grey Worm. He gives her like a puppy dog look and throws it into the fire. And then right afterwards, they kind of stare at each other for a minute. It feels a little tense. And then Jon comes into the room. Of course, Grey Worm's a little on edge. He's got to keep his Khaleesi safe. And Doligo Noodle is told to leave by Khaleesi. And they talk a little bit. Her and fucking Jon, they talk about how he low-key conspired against her, but how he told Varys that he didn't want to be king, and how he thinks it's kind of fucked up that she burned him alive. And I agree. I think it's pretty burnt up. It is pretty burnt up. I'm burnt up inside about this episode. Honestly, at this point, though, I don't feel nearly as hot as I used to. It's like the emotional core for Game of Thrones that I had inside my body has been ripped out and murdered, you know? Like, they ripped my heart out and just fucking crushed it in their hands. I feel nothing for this show but contempt and disdain, and I must express it in this form. Yeah, so, they have a nice moment. Well, no, they don't. What the fuck am I talking about? See, this shit's got me so fucked up. I'm running in goddamn circles trying to talk about this episode because there's so much convoluted bullshit that sets up the last, 30 minutes of the episode. And oh my god, I can't wait to get to the last 30 minutes of the episode But Dany talks to Jon about how much more people love him than her and how people fear her, and that's all she's got. And he says that she's his queen and she'll always be his queen, and he looks at her and she looks at him and she says, "Is that all I am to you, your queen?" And they kiss, and he pulls away from her because he's kind of fucked up. He realizes how forced this fucking not romance anymore, this kind of almost Jaime Cersei-esque relationship. I'm trying to draw parallels here because I'm trying to add some quality to it. There isn't a lot of quality here. There's very little to speak of. And my brain's doing a lot. You can tell. I'm not doing that consciously. To try and establish a little bit of standard in these episodes when clearly there was none to be had. So the Mad Queen tells Jon, when he pulls away from her, "Let it be fear." And then Tyrion is in the throne room with Dany. She's arguing against her burning the city. Of course, it's the same shit he's been harping on with Qyburn and Cersei earlier, and Dany earlier, and everybody, honestly, that they shouldn't burn the fucking city. That it's not a good idea. That, these peasants don't deserve the wrath of Dragonfire. And Dany talks about fault and says, whose fault is it that they're under the rule of a tyrant? Tyrion, of course, obviously points out that it's not about fucking fault. It's about what you said you were going to do. Be the breaker of chains, you know? You're supposed to come here and free these people, but you're talking about killing them all. So she makes the argument in sort of a twisted perception that her mercy is going to be to attack the city, burn it down, and take it over. She tells Dol Gonudo to wait for her outside the city and that she'll know when it's time to attack. And Tyrion's the ultimate cuck because Dany tells him that Jaime got caught outside of the lines and that if she betrays him again, Tyrion betrays Dany, that he's Foxville. Tyrion's Foxville. And then she just walks the fuck out. He doesn't say nothing. He just kind of looks at her solemnly like, oh, God damn it, what should I do? And now we get a nice shot. It's King's Landing getting filled up by peasants. You see the Red Keep getting filled up. You see wagon trains. You see cattle. You see children. You see old. You see gold. Not really much gold, more like mold. And this is kind of cut between shots of the dragon camp getting ready for battle. Tyrion's getting rode in. He doesn't look too happy, honestly. And Tyrion, in this moment, after he lands, meets up with Davos, and he asks him to do him a favor. It cuts in this moment to Arya and the Hound leaving the camp. Arya tells a soldier that stops her that she's going to kill Cersei, literally. And her and the Hound leave. There's a little bit of dialogue about how I'm going to go tell my captain, go tell your fucking captain. It's stupid. It's fan servicey garbage. I can't believe y'all literally just went out and said it, especially considering what happens later on in the episode. I'll get there. I promise. I've got a lot to get to. And this shit's fucking ridiculous, man. It's actually fucking insane. So, Tyrion goes up to the Unsullied camp, and he tells the Unsullied that they need to go to sleep, but they have orders to guard the prisoner. And he pretty much makes the argument that he is way higher outranking than them. And I guess this is supposed to be their interpretation of Tyrion being clever, fucking outsmarting a bunch of cockless morons. Good job, Tyrion. Real fucking gold feather for your cap right there, buddy. I'm really fucking proud of you right there. And so, he goes in there to Jaime and tries to convince him to go to see Cersei to stand down, to get her to stand down and to give it up. Or at the very least, he mentions later, to run away with her, to just get out. And when you get out, give the command to raise the gates and ring the bells, because that's Tyrion's whole plan, that if they do that, then they're not going to burn the city down, and that their soldiers are going to surrender, that's apparently the signal. My guess, I don't know this, but my guess is there's something in the books, in, like, the original book, about how in King's Landing it's tradition, if the fucking war is lost, that they ring the bells. I'm sorry, I'm hiccuping at all this bullshit. My stomach can sense bullshit. that if you ring the bells that the war's over and that you lost, but I don't know that. They are just inserting that shit. It kind of feels like how in Star Wars, a Star Wars story, when in the ADR lines, when they insert people like Bora Singh, it's not even Aura Singh because that shit's boring. You don't even see her. It's an 80-yard line. When they talk about Minox and a bunch of stupid bullshit, they're literally just shoving tidbits of shit y'all like into the show to keep you interested. You'll hear something you recognize, you'll be like, oh, I noticed that. That's pretty interesting. No, that's stupid. They're pandering to you. Wake up, sheeple. Please. Oh, it's fucking pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. Ugh. Well, you know what's less pathetic, though? That Jaime actually says something reasonable to Tyrion, and he's like, your Dragon Queen's gonna kill you, because of course he recognizes that she's insane. He knows. He's got the script. He reads the script. Nikolai Waldorf Casto, or whatever his name is, reads the script. He knows that bitch is insane. He knows Tyrion's probably gonna die. But Tyrion doesn't care. He pretty much rationalizes one dwarf for 10,000 people. Good life. He says 10,000 people, but there's over 1 million people in King's Landing. They say that in, like, season 1, I think. I'm not 100%. But they say that shit they say that several times. I know they say that shit several times. But good job, D&D. You can't even keep numbers consistent in your own fucking show. Good job. Good fucking job. And, hold on, I'm reading my notes. They have a nice, touching final goodbye. Him and Tyrion and Jaime. They talk about how they were the only, like, Tyrion talks about how, you were the only one that didn't think I was a monster. He says the most basic bullshit. It's nice emotionally, but the dialogue is absolute trash. I really understand why y'all have been cutting away from these emotional moments, D&D. If y'all have been writing them, you can't write them. And if your writer's been writing them, he sucks. I understand why you haven't been giving him more time. So, Tyrion leaves. Jaime stays shackled. It cuts to King's Landing in the morning. We see the Iron Fleet out in full force. It looks nice. We see that shot of the trailer. And the Blackwater Bay Bowmaster looking out at the sky. He puts his hand up. It's kind of cloudy. He's looking up at the sun. He knows something's about to happen because just like all the other main characters, he's read the script. And we show these ballistas a lot right here. And I imagine this is just set up for them to get wrecked. Because clearly the defenses of King's Landing are set up, organized, and ready. There's no way that Dany's army should stand a chance. But she has to win. She has to fucking win. So, of course, she's going to wreck them. And we get to see the Golden Company out in front of the fucking wall. They're not standing behind the wall. Who cares, honestly, at this point? I was going to make an argument about realism. The same thing with the archers. There are those little palisades they're supposed to be blocking their chests with and shooting above. But again, realism doesn't matter. Arya and the Hound are also seen teleporting into King's Landing. Actually, I don't know if it's teleportation at this point because they already teleported to the Dragon Queen camp. And they probably were able to just horse ride up to King's Landing. My guess is how nobody noticed Sandor fucking Clegane. I get the argument that nobody recognizes people in a medieval setting, but he's probably the most recognizable person in Westeros, save for fucking Tyrion Lannister. Like, look at his face. He's as big as shit. He should be easy to recognize. Those damn Lannister soldiers, unless literally all of them are not, none of them are new, none of them are old fucking recruits, they're all fucking newbies, none of them know who the Hound is, which I'm calling bullshit on. You're telling me none of them have heard stories about that? Retarded shit. I was talking about the Golden Company, right? They kind of look like some Gondorian warriors. They look pretty sick. They look mean. They're grimacing. They're mugging. They look like they're ready to beat some ass. But of course they're not going to beat some ass. The good guy army has to win. We see the army of the Mad Queen. It looks bigger than it did in the trailer. But that might be my blind rage distorting my memory of the trailer. Tyrion tells Jon in this moment that if the bells ring and the gates open, he needs to surrender. Possibly foreshadowing a betrayal massacre. My patented word, betrayal massacre mashup. We get to see then Cersei looking over the peasants. This is that shot from the trailer I was talking about, her cretinous court. There's a lot of peasants funneling into the Red Keep to ensure maximum dragon-related carnage if Dany hits that shit with her fire. I wonder if that's gonna happen. Many of the peasants get locked out of the keep and seem very angry. Arya and the Hound make it in somehow. Jaime doesn't make it in, so he ducks down an alleyway. I almost guarantee you he makes it. Tyrion looks sad yet again. Those are the only shots we've gotten of him this episode, looking somber as fuck. We haven't seen a clever moment from him in several seasons. It's pathetic. He looks at the ballistas, and now the dragon is dive bombing the fucking fleet. It's great. You see her going straight through the sun, right? Euron's looking up. They make one fucking shot. Count them one. Go back and watch the damn episode. Euron tells that dude to shoot one shot. I'm not saying that same ballista needs to shoot more than one shot, but none of the other ballistas shoot a shot. Dany dodges that one damn bolt and fucking annihilates that shit with her fucking dragon fire. She's tearing up boats. She blows Euron off his fucking boat with dragon fire. You remember with dragon fire, if it got anywhere near you, you just got incinerated? Well, foreshadowing. We get multiple shots of her flying between boats, blowing shit up. No one's shooting anything. No one really seems to give a fuck that they're getting massacred by a dragon. She's just waltzing at this point. She does like 2 more nonchalant dodges. Then she starts hitting the walls, bruh, blowing them up, tearing them out. They get several shots, cuts between her and Cersei. You see her. She looks a little worried about things getting blown up. We see Tyrion worried about getting blown up. No one gets fucking shot by ballistas. No one on the fucking ground. None of the dragon. Nobody. Nothing. They shoot like 3 shots in the whole damn episode. There's like 40 fucking ballistas. 40 fucking ballistas. But of course Dany has magical plot armor. Of course she gets to dodge every single ballista. I'm pretty sure that they all got annihilated by dragon fire in less than a second, including Euron. All of a sudden, these ballistas suck. It's absolutely pathetic. You get at least 2 shots of dudes screaming, "Fire!" before getting lit on fire. And of course, the dragon is fine because Dany's on the back and he can't get hurt while Dany's on the back because Dany's the main fucking character. It cuts back to the armies and you can hear explosions. By armies, I mean the good guys. Not really the good guys anymore at this point. It's starting to shift in the Golden Company. It's pretty ominous. You hear boom, boom, boom. They're getting louder. It's the boats getting exploded. It's the fucking ballistas getting exploded. It gets quiet for a second. And then all of a sudden it gets light behind the fucking Golden Company. And the gates of King's Landing get blown open from behind by dragon fire. And Daenerys goes whooshing out of the fucking gate, scattering the main bulk of the Golden Company in front of the gate. None of the ballistas on the wall shoot at her in this moment. We get another Battle of the Bastards ripoff with that dude Strickland at the head of the fucking Golden Company getting charged by Dothraki and getting fucking stabbed and fucked up. He runs away a little bit. It's like one of those long shots where it follows him with the camera. But of course he doesn't get away because he's not an important character. He's had 1 line of dialogue in the whole episode. He's a toxic white male. We could kill him. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. These Dothraki are fucking unstoppable. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. We thought there were only going to be like 10 Dothraki after the long night, but I guess they were right in Season 8, Episode 4. They really did only lose half of their fucking forces. And it doesn't matter in the slightest. 1 dragon managed to be more effective than all 3 combined. Isn't that fucking sad? Destroyed half the fucking army. We get more shots of that 1 dragon firebombing the Golden Company than we get of Jon and Daenerys in the long night firebombing the dead. We get more shots of her destroying ballistas than we get shots of ballistas shooting her in the entire fucking series. It's fucking pathetic. And then We get to see this fetish Tyrion seems to have for walking through lines of burning carnage as he walks through the destroyed gates of the city. This is at least a cool shot. We get to see the destroyed gates. It looks pretty nice, but it's honestly, it's stupid. It's fucking dumb. Why is he walking out there? How is he not going to get shot by anybody? You're telling me every archer on the walls is dead? You're telling me no one knows that's the imp, the Lannister imp that the fucking queen hates? You're telling me no one's going to even try and shoot the hand of the Mad Queen? Whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Moving the fuck on. We get that scene of fucking Cersei and Qyburn. She says something about how it's no big deal. All it takes is one shot for them to beat Daenerys. But my queen, the Scorpions have all been destroyed. Your Iron Fleet is burning. The Golden Company is failing. And, of course, the Mad Queen Cersei, we got 2 Mad Queens in this episode. She says, the Red Keep has never fallen, and it won't fall today. Big motherfucking hint. On the nose. Take the word fallen and store it in your brain. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. Then we cut to a shot of the heroes. Tyrion, not Tyrion actually, hold on. I think it's actually just Davos and Jon walking in. Oh no, it's Grey Worm too. They're walking into the burn-up gate of King's Landing. Davos is on the front line with the sword. I'm pretty sure he slashes at somebody. Like, holy fuck. Y'all are really taking the piss, aren't y'all, D&D? Y'all don't give a shit about nothing. I will say this, at least the big fucking hole in the gate looks cool. We get another shot of Jaime running through fucking hallways and shit. And honestly, I think he's gonna beat Arya and the Hound to fucking Cersei. Because, why not, right? He's gotta be the one to get there. He's gotta be the one to get there, even though they have an epic fucking head start. We gotta fulfill the Valakar prophecy. We shit on everything else. We might as well bastardize this, too. So, I think he'll probably bust out his TP magic one more time when the time comes. We get a shot of an epic stare down between Jon and the good guy forces and the Lannister army. The dragon lands up on a building. It roars, and the Lannister forces drop their swords. This is probably the most logical thing that's happened in the entire episode. Jaime begins, again, to rush up to the Red Keep. He picks up a sword he just finds laying on the ground. We see peasants screaming and yelling for the bells to be rung. Dany and Cersei have like a psychic stare showdown. It's almost like in The Last Jedi when Rey and Kylo have their Force link. They're just staring at each other back and forth. And then you hear the bells ring. But it cuts to Dany, and it's like close up on her face. The camera's kind of rocking. You hear the bells. You hear people screaming. You could tell she's kind of wigging out, bruh. She's losing it. She hears all the people screaming. She's afraid of them. And so she decides, like she said earlier in the episode, that she's going to let it be fear. And she starts flying head first at the Red Keep. Holy fucking shit, y'all are really going to do it. This one thing that y'all have been saying she wasn't going to fucking do. The one thing, y'all, oh my God, listen to my body actually shut down at the mention of this bullshit. Y'all really did subvert fucking expectations. The breaker of chains is now the burner of peasants. The killer, oh my God. I'm starting to fucking, listen to me, bruh. Sorry. Holy fuck. My body literally just refused to respond to me there for a minute because of how fucking garbage this episode was. I'm sorry y'all had to hear those gags, but I left them in to give you a fucking point. I left them in here for you to prove to you how fucking retarded this shit is. She's fucking charging at the Red Keep on the dragon. We get that iconic shot of the dragon flying over King's Landing. But sadly, it's just Dany burning down the Red Keep. It's just Dany burning a shitload of civilians. This is fucking insane. The good boy army. Honestly, I'm going to start calling them the bad guy army. Because they start killing the unarmed Lannisters. They start killing fucking civilians. Jon, in this moment, has a similar moment to Daenerys, but instead of going insane, he kind of PTSDs and tries to get his soldiers to stop frantically. No, stop. The Lannisters are getting killed to the last man. It's pretty pathetic. One charges Jon, and that stops his pleas. Grey Worm looks back at him in this moment, almost as if contemplating that he's gonna kill him. I swear to God, D&D, if Grey Worm kills Jon Snow, holy shit, my fury will know no bounds. I will release wrath upon the internet, the likes of which have never been seen before. You will feel my rage. You will feel my fury. This shit's fucking ridiculous, y'all. We get multiple shots of Dany literally destroying the entire city to sad music. It's like piano keys and strings. This is worse than I ever could have thought this episode was. I thought the long night was going to be the worst, and then the last episode was going to be the worst, and now I thought this episode wasn't going to be the worst. I didn't know how they could make it worse. But they did it. Her armies are killing everybody. She's burning people alive. The shit's genuinely terrifying. People are raping women and children. People are getting gutted. The bad guy army is fucking despicable. Even the Lannister soldiers are trying to help people at this point. Jon saves this one woman who's about to be raped by one of his Stark soldiers, and I feel like this is a sobering reality check for him. I feel like he might kill Daenerys. I feel like a lot of people might kill Daenerys. Honestly, I feel like at this point, Daenerys is just going to burn everybody alive. There are no scorpions left to stop her. She could just sit on the top of Drogon forever and just kill everybody. It's not like it's going to matter. The only people who would oppose her are going to be dead. And speaking of mad queens, Dany is literally toying with Cersei. She's flying around the Red Keep. There are these nice fucking spires that I don't remember being there in any of the previous seasons, but that's really not that important. I'll give it a pass because it's kind of cool how Dany's just firebombing them, trying to fucking scare her. And it seems like it's working too. Cersei looks scared as fuck. Jaime makes his run to the Red Keep. And right as he makes it into the dungeons, he gets stopped by fucking Euron of all people. I know I said that he got blown off the fucking boat with dragon fire, but of course, this is season 8. We gotta subvert expectations. They gotta have an epic sword fight. You know what's fucking retarded? Euron's a more suspenseful villain than fucking the Night King. Euron Greyjoy killed a dragon, and fucking Jaime Lannister. You're fucking the Night King. Who did he kill? He killed fucking Theon Greyjoy. Pfft, gay, lame. And I don't mean gay as in homosexual, I mean gay as in the schoolyard stupid sense. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, just come on, y'all. My 5th grade self could write some better material without even knowing what the fuck Game of Thrones is. And of course, in this sword fight, Jaime should definitely lose. He has his left hand. He's been beaten by Bronn. He's been beaten by so many fucking people. Euron's a decent sword fighter. He's fought a lot of people. He's killed a lot of people. He beat Yara in that one fight. But of course, somehow in a jump cut, they both lose their weapons, and Jaime gets on top of him and tries to hit him. But Euron crawls towards a dagger and jabs him in the tummy before Jaime can make a decisive blow. It's pretty fucking pathetic. And this cuts real quick. We lose this part. And we see Qyburn take Cersei down into the underground bunker because shit's about to wrap up, honestly. We see wildfire blowing up in the city. I keep fucking saying mixing Cersei's name up with Wise, bruh. I like her name. I like her character. It's sad this episode managed to butcher her with some of the most pathetic dialogue ever. No, the Red Keep will never fall. Oh. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. I don't even want to say anything else about it. So, Euron's gloating over Jaime, and of course, pride cometh before the fall. And Euron actually gets impaled by Jaime at this point, because Jaime's crawling towards his sword, and Euron goes over there to stop him, and he stabs him again, but then he stops. He just assumes that Jaime's fucked. And Jamie turns around and stabs him in the gut. And Euron falls onto the fucking sword, and he falls onto the ground. He lays back, and he looks at him, and he's like, "That's two. You fucking got me." It's like they have almost this mutual respect for each other. And Jamie sort of limps away. Euron, we get a close-up on his face. He looks happy. He's smiling. He's like, "I'm the man who killed Jamie Lannister." At least he's a consistently written character, like I said in the trailer reaction. He's a ridiculous character, but at least he's consistent. And honestly, I bet you a fight between the real Euron and Jamie happens at some point in the books, just based on the fact that we've heard R.R. Martin say that the endings are similar, but it's not going to be under the same circumstance at all. I can almost promise you that. If it even happens. Honestly, at this point, I don't know if it will. And then it cuts to the Hound and the Arya and the ruins of the Red Keep as it falls apart. The Hound tells Arya to leave. He grabs her by the arm as she tells him he doesn't want to. The Hound and her have a real moment, and she looks at him, calls him Sandor, and says thank you. She decides to leave after having a change of heart, because Sandor looks at her, and she looks at him and says, "Look at me, girl. I wanted vengeance. Look at me. Do you want to be like me? If you stay here, you're gonna die." And this is a nice moment between them. And she dips. She runs the fuck out of there. She skirts, bruh. And then it cuts to Cersei and Qyburn and Zombie Mountain in the last little bit of the fucking Lannister forces leaving where she was in the Red Keep. Rocks are falling, crushing soldiers. The mountain makes like a human body shield over Cersei and gets crushed by a shit ton of rocks. One of them is almost as big as my fucking car, bro. If you get a shot of the ceiling as it breaks apart, and there's one piece of the ceiling that's almost the quarter of the ceiling, and it falls right on top of him. And he manages to get up later and have a fight with the mountain. But you know what? Who cares? The Hound is there to greet them in this shot, and he easily dispatches the last 4 Lannister soldiers that are there. He taunts the mountain. He calls him an ugly fuck. And as the mountain goes to leave, we have a weird moment. This whole time, the mountain has been loyal to Cersei and her commands, and she commands him to stay. He disobeys and begins to walk away. So Qyburn tells him to obey. And, of course, the zombie mountain just crushes, he slams his head up against some rocks, and Qyburn dies without a second glance. That's fucking pathetic, y'all. Y'all gave this excellent-ass character that y'all rose up for being tied to a fence in what is it, Harrenhal, in Season 3, getting rescued by Robb Stark's forces to becoming Hand of the Queen to fucking Cersei. He's had one of the most interesting character arcs, and that's how y'all just dispose of him like that? That's fucking pathetic, y'all. That's really fucking pathetic. And so, after that happens, the mountain just keeps on walking towards fucking the Hound. The Queen leaves, no one pays her any mind, and they begin to have a lame sword fight. The mountain is catching on his sword. It's like Darth Vader reminiscent almost. He's wearing his black armor. He's he's blocking the sword. And that shit cuts away. We get to see the real reason Arya had to leave, right? Not for some change of art or any sort of plot development, because I bet you she's going to kill fucking Dany, because Jaime has to show up to see Cersei right as everything is crumbling down around her. She says probably the stupidest words that have ever been uttered on Game of Thrones. "You're hurt. You're bleeding." This dialogue is so cringeworthy. I wouldn't be surprised that if I went into the mirror after I got done recording this rant, that I had more wrinkles on my face after witnessing it firsthand and having to listen to it again post-mortem in order to write and review this piece of shit. It's fucking pathetic. It's really fucking pathetic. They hug, they hold, he says that him bleeding doesn't matter, and they leave. It cuts between, they don't actually leave. It just cuts. Arya gets to see the carnage of the Dragon Queen firsthand. A lot of maimed citizens, flashes of dragon fire overhead. She sees walls and buildings being blown apart by fiery explosions. The Hound and Arya are cut in between in a sort of nice way as they're both beaten and battered. The Hound is thrown up against the walls and the ground by a zombie mountain. And Arya is thrown up against the ground and the walls by a charge of peasants. Arya gets pulled up by this lady she saw earlier in the episode that we see outside of the gate of the Red Keep. Somehow she survived up until this point. Remember her, please. In this nice cut, it leaves with Sandor. He's getting the shit beat out of him. And, he's already stabbed the fuck out of this motherfucker. He stabbed the shit out of him. He stabbed his sword into his fucking shoulder. The mountain pulls it out and it pulls his armor off. We get to see these nice makeup effects that they did on Zombie Mountain for like 5 minutes where they fight. Zombie Mountain is just beating the fuck out of him, throwing him around. There's a sad moment where the Hound's on the ground like whimpering, bruh. He's literally fucking whimpering. And so the Mountain picks him up to finish the job and he's choking him to death. But the Hound finally remembers he has that dagger on his fucking belt. And he pulls it out. It just starts wildly stabbing at the Mountain. He can't kill him. He starts laughing. So the Mountain does his trick against Oberyn and starts trying to pop his head. And, you know what's great? Oberyn squealed like a little bitch. But the Hound makes, like, no noise. And he finally stabs the Mountain in the eye. The Mountain drops him. But of course, even that can't kill him. He's fucking immortal, bruh. He might as well be fucking Doomsday from the DC series, because even if you stab him with something mortal, he'll come back stronger. So, in this exercise in futility, the Hound tackles him out of the side of the Red Keep into a shit ton of fire. What the fuck, bruh? What the fuck? Then we cut to a shot of Jon seeing wildfire exploding as Dany continues to melt the entire city. At this point, he's definitely regretting every decision he ever made regarding that stupid bitch. He orders his men to retreat, which is probably a good idea, and they frantically escape as the dragon burns the city top overhead and drops flaming rubble around them. Arya is shown to be beaten and covered in rubble, lying unconscious on the street. Luckily, she gets awoken by the sound of dragonfire explosions. She also seems to be regretting everything. Going into the Red Keep, becoming a faceless person, wanting to kill Cersei, killing the Night King, leaving Winterfell the first time, literally all of it. So she begins to pathetically limp out of the dust, caked in fucking ash, seemingly gaining no ground. As she's running away, there's a building that begins to collapse on her, and in classic stupid writing fashion, she could have just walked sideways like 2 feet, but she runs long ways away from the building, and it looks like it crushes her, and then it cuts away. Of course she makes it inside the giant building, because it's fucking Arya, and she's got plot armor, and if she can't get burned up by dragonfire and crushed by boulders, she's not gonna get destroyed by a stupid fucking building. She finds that stupid lady that we talked about earlier that was outside of the Red Keep that helped her up earlier. Somehow, out of all the thousands of people that have been burned alive and raped and murdered, her and her stupid daughter have managed to survive up until this point. And of course, Arya has to try and help her escape. Of course! The mom gets wrecked by savages, and Arya has to run the fuck out of there. Honestly, I didn't feel like she made it, though, because it's a very, fooling shot of her getting burned up by dragonfire, even though it's obvious subverted expectations, Rian Johnson D&D fashion. It's just a cut of something else getting burned up by dragonfire. So it shows Jaime and Cersei attempting their escape. They're down in the crypts where the dragon skulls are, where they initially tested the ballista, but the passageway that he took in is filled with fucking concrete, bruh. I'm not sure how concrete made it into Game of Thrones, but I guess the ancient stonemasons that built the Red Keep were way more advanced than I gave them credit for. And, There's sad music playing. Cersei's freaking out, and it's fucking pathetic. She's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die like this. Jaime, I want our baby to live. Don't let our baby die, Jaime. I don't want her to die like this. It's somehow, this dialogue is even more cringy than her talking about Jaime being hurt and wanting to fucking bleed, or talking about him bleeding. And I'm not gonna lie to you, bruh. Somehow, they even managed to ruin this character, too. I thought the women were the strong fucking female characters, but it seems like even they are fucking victim to D&D's writing plague. Jaime says nothing matters but them. He holds on to her. They share a tender moment down in the crumbling ruins underneath the keep, and they are soundly crushed underneath debris. We get to see the aftermath of a city blackened and covered in ash. Somehow, Arya survived, because, plot armor. Honestly, that being said, I wonder if Jaime and Cersei made it out. I know we see them getting crushed in rubble, but we also see Arya getting burned up by dragonfire. So, there's more bullshit. Then there's one more episode. So who knows? They might make it back. We need one more threat. What if it's not the Mad Queen? What if y'all's expectations get subverted again? And, we've had over 3 different shots at this point of Arya witnessing Dany's carnage of King's Landing. I can almost guarantee y'all that she's going to kill the Mad Queen at this point. She even sees the burnt corpse of a parent clutching her child. I know it's not that same bitch that died, but holy shit. Y'all couldn't make this any more obvious. Just let her kill her at the end of the episode. Don't make 6 episodes, make 5. Just let it be over. And you know what? The fucking creme de la creme of this episode, out of all the stupid shit that could have happened, out of all the absolute retardation, out of all the bullshit plot contrivances, out of Dany's plot armor, out of anything. I can't even think of more examples. My brain is broken by the sheer stupidity. There's a fucking CGI horse just waiting there. Deus Ex Horsina. That fucking Arya saved the world, and that fucking horse saved Arya. She literally goes over to it, calms the spooked steed in like 2.5 seconds, and gets a ride out of King's Landing. She seems like the only survivor that stayed inside of the burned wreckage that used to be King's Landing. How lovely is that for plot armor? I thought Dany dodging ballistas was bad, but this is downright atrocious. And you know what's the fucking icing on this shit sandwich? That's the end of the episode. It just cuts after that stupid little girl riding out on her horse like fucking Gandalf into the sunset. Fuck you, D&D. This shit is retarded. Y'all are ridiculous. You're hacks. I can't believe I ever fell in love with this fucking show. Even if George R.R. Martin sabotaged y'all with bad fucking plot details, there's no way y'all couldn't have fucked up what he gave y'all based on how shitty this is. I have no faith in y'all's Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars trilogy. I will boycott anything y'all make in the future. I will tell everyone I know that y'all are hacks and you are pathetic. And honestly, bruh, I bet y'all sleep with a nightlight on too.